You wake up tired. Before you even think, your hand has already reached for your phone. You scroll through it for a few minutes without really knowing why. Then you get up, do the same things in the same order, with the same feeling that the day has already started heavily. You go to work or school on autopilot. You do what needs to be done. You answer what needs to be answered. You arrive home drained. Then you pick up your phone again, not because you want to, but because it's what you always do. You watch short videos. An hour passes. 2. You promise yourself that tomorrow will be different. You go to bed late. You wake up tired, and you repeat it all again. If this describes you, I need to ask you a question that perhaps no one has asked before. What if the problem isn't you? What if the problem is that your routine has trained your brain to survive the day and not to truly live? This is what we're going to talk about today. Stay until the end, because there's a practical part here that could change how you end your day. And before we continue, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, do it now. Here we talk about practical psychology, habits, and mental health in a simple way, without empty talk and without coaches yelling at you on the screen. Hit the red button and tell me in the comments, where are you watching this video from? I want to know where this conversation is reaching. Living on autopilot doesn't seem like destruction. That's the problem. The person who's on autopilot still works, still pays the bills, still replies to messages, still smiles when needed. On the outside, everything seems to be working. But inside, they're disappearing from their own life. She doesn't remember the last time she woke up excited about the day. She doesn't remember the last time she did something out of choice, not obligation. She's just following the script. Wake up, work, eat, scroll, sleep poorly, repeat. And the most dangerous thing of all, this doesn't seem like a crisis. It just seems like another day. When something seems normal, we stop questioning it. And that's exactly when the bad routine swallows you up. Not with a sudden impact, with a silent wear and tear, day after day, until you look back and realize you've spent months, maybe years, living a life you didn't choose. But why does the brain allow this to happen? Because the brain is, above all, a survival system. And survival requires energy conservation. When life is heavy, with pressure, bills, work, family, transportation, everything at the same time, the brain finds a solution, repeating what it already knows. It doesn't matter if the pattern is good or bad. The brain prefers the familiar because the familiar is safe, it's predictable. Change, even for the better, requires energy that the brain doesn't want to expend. That's why you know you need to stop picking up your phone first thing in the morning, but you do. You know you need to go to bed early, but you stay awake. You know you should use that time differently, but you don't. It's not a lack of willpower. It's your nervous system choosing the path of least resistance, which is always the path you've already taken before. The discomfort of change seems more threatening than the familiar pain of standing still. And that's where the invisible prison begins. You don't wake up one day and decide to destroy your own life. That's not how it works. People get lost in small, repeated mistakes every day. Just 10 more minutes on my phone. I'll stay up late tonight. I'll start tomorrow. I'll deal with it later. I'm too tired to think about it now. Each of these thoughts seems reasonable at the time. But when you pile one on top of the other, day after day, week after week, they build a life you didn't want to have. A ruined life rarely begins with one big wrong decision. It often begins with small, repeated mistakes every day. This needs to be said respectfully, but clearly. You're not living on autopilot because you're weak or stupid. Many people watching this video are carrying heavy burdens, real exhaustion, real financial pressure, real lack of support. Poor sleep, long days, almost zero emotional reserve. Your tiredness explains your routine, but it can't continue to be the excuse that buries your future. There's a psychological cycle that keeps a person trapped in autopilot, and when you understand it, you start to see where to break free from. It starts with mental fatigue. You're exhausted. The day was tough. Your brain needs relief. Then comes the second stage, the search for quick relief. And the easiest quick relief that exists today is the screen, the cell phone, the short videos, the endless feed. This generates a small dose of dopamine, that fleeting feeling of pleasure, which calms the nervous system for a few minutes. But then comes the third stage, guilt. You lost an hour, 2 hours, and you feel you wasted time that you could have used to change something. Then comes the fourth stage, the promise. Tomorrow I'll start. Tomorrow I'll change. Tomorrow I'll organize my life. And the cycle closes in the fifth stage. You wake up the next day with the same brain, in the same environment, exposed to the same triggers, and repeat everything again. The problem isn't a lack of intention. The problem is that intention without interrupting the pattern changes nothing. Now I need to tell you what this cycle does to your identity, and this is the part that hurts the most. When you repeat a bad routine long enough, you don't just think you have a bad habit. You start to think that's who you are. You start to define yourself by the pattern. I'm lazy, I never finish anything, I lack discipline, my life never changes. Maybe that's just how I am. These statements aren't true, but they seem true because you've lived them repeatedly, and the brain learns through repetition.
So every time you repeat the bad routine, you're training an identity, not just a habit, a belief about who you are. You're not just repeating a routine, you're building, brick by brick, a version of yourself that you believe you can't change. And this needs to stop. If you've made it this far, I already know you want to change. So take advantage and leave a comment below. Which part of this video resonated with you the most? This helps me a lot to continue producing this content. And if you're enjoying it, leave a like. This simple gesture makes a huge difference to the channel. Now, let's get to what matters: how to break free from autopilot. The solution isn't to become a different person overnight. It's not about creating a perfect routine on Sunday night and trying to follow it on Monday. It's not motivation. It's not an explosion of energy. It's something much simpler and much more powerful: a conscious interruption of the pattern. You don't need a perfect life. You need to break the cycle once, then again, then another time. So let me give you 5 practical tips: small, simple, and real. First, break the first trigger of the day. Don't pick up your phone in the first 10 minutes after you wake up. Before consuming the world, come back to yourself for a moment. Breathe. Look at the ceiling. Think about one thing you're going to do today. 10 minutes. That already changes the chemistry of the start of the day. The second, name the pattern when it appears. When you feel the urge to pick up your phone for distraction, or to procrastinate, or to escape discomfort, mentally say, "I'm going on autopilot." Just naming it creates a fraction of awareness before the repetition, and awareness is where choice begins. The third, replace escape with discharge. When you're tired, don't go straight to the endless screen. Take a short discharge first. A short walk, a quiet bath. 5 minutes of breathing exercises, a prayer. Write 3 sentences about how you're feeling. Tidy up a small corner of your room. This truly discharges the nervous system, instead of just numbing it for a few minutes. Fourth, create a minimal anchor. Choose an action so small that your brain can't reject it. 5 minutes of reading, 10 push-ups, a page written, a glass of water before opening any app, 5 minutes organizing something. The size doesn't matter. What matters is that you chose to do it, instead of letting the day drag you down. And fifth,
end the day without abandoning yourself.
Before going to sleep, ask yourself, what was one choice I made today that wasn't automatic? It doesn't matter how small the choice was. Find one. This doesn't train guilt. It trains pride. And pride is the fuel that makes a person want to repeat the right choice the next day. I need to be honest with you before we end this. No video will save you from your routine. No pretty phrase. No perfect Monday. No peak of motivation that lasts 2 days and then disappears. Change doesn't begin when you feel ready. It begins when you stop negotiating with the pattern that is destroying your energy, your focus, your self-esteem, and your peace.
While you call it routine, your brain calls it programming. And programming only changes when you interrupt the code. You don't need to become a different person overnight, but you do need to stop repeating every day the version of yourself that is tired, distracted, and directionless. Today, choose a break. Small, simple, real. Because a life on autopilot doesn't change with a burst of motivation. It changes when you interrupt the pattern once, then again, then another. And with time, without you realizing it, you'll look back and see that the person who wakes up today is no longer the same person who woke up in survival mode.
It's someone who chose, who interrupted, who started from where they were with what they had. This is the calm method. It's not about being perfect. It's about being mindful. Thank you for staying until the end. Leave a comment. Which of the 5 steps will you try today? I want to read every answer. If this video resonated with you, please leave a like before you go. This helps the channel grow and continue bringing this content to those who need it most. And look at the video that's playing on the screen now. It continues exactly along these lines, and I'm sure it will speak to you as well. See you there.